Hello, manifestors. This is part 2 of how I manifested my SP. So if you missed part 1, be sure to go back. The link is down below in the first comment and in the description as well. If you are new here, please subscribe, like, and comment. This helps my channel and help people who need to hear this story. So let me go back to where I left off. After my SP had that dream about me, I went back to France. He went back to France. But interestingly, he rushed back to home. And when I asked him later on why he had rushed back home like this, he said that somehow he couldn't explain it, that he felt the need to be close to me or closer to me. But it's interesting that he actually went back home before me. So he wasn't even closer to me because I was still in England and he was in the southwest of France. So anyhow, that's what he said. Again, your SP can only feel what you feel, right? So I was on a good train, so to speak. I was manifesting him very fast. So eventually we got into the habit of chatting on Messenger every night, anywhere between 2 to 4 hours, 4 hours and hours anywhere. And at some point, it's interesting that if you know me, I am not a type of woman who goes after a guy or who even seem to be flirting with them. I'm not, this is not me. This is not how I grew up. This is not my makeup. I'm pretty cold. Usually I'm rather on the cold side. I let a guy come. I don't go to them. I don't do anything sexy. I just don't, because that's not me, right? Okay, so I was friendly. That's all I was, pretty much, right? Being a buddy, being like a friend, chatting for hours with him. So here's another thing. When people are asking me, how should I act when I manifest an SP? Because in my end, I'm married to them, but right now he's a buddy. I'm chatting with him. Yeah, that's fine. That's right. That's where you are at right now in your 3D world. That's perfectly okay. You have to play the game, as I call it. You just play the game. Right now, in your present situation, you are someone chatting with a guy, and you're not anything to one another. It doesn't matter. Your end is already done. The 3D hasn't catch up yet. That's all it is, right? So in the meantime, you do what I did. You just play the game, which is what I did. And so, like I said, for 3 weeks now, we've been chatting. I was rather friendly, but cold at the same time, not trying to tell him anything sexy or flirty because he was married anyhow, right? So if anything, it was him who would say things that normally a guy who is not after you romantically wouldn't say. So if anything, it was him doing that, not me. But interestingly, another bridge was about to happen. But of course, as I always tell you, when you are on a bridge, you don't know it's a bridge. You just know it afterward. So if you're trying to find out bridges, you're going to look for them for a long, long time. When you are on a bridge, you don't know you are on a bridge. You know it afterward. So anyway, it was a Friday evening, I remember very well. And we had been chatting for hours, like close to 4 hours that day. And he says, I think you like me. Do you like me? And I was like, wow. He has a lot of nerves, right? Asking me if I liked him because it seemed that I liked him. Wow. When it was him who was pretty much flirting with me for 3 weeks. Anyhow, way more than I could ever do, right? So I was very shocked for a second or two. I was like shocked. But anyhow, I thought about it for about 2 seconds. I didn't have a whole lot of time, right? We were chatting. So I was like, I'm too old for this. I'm not going to pretend that I don't like him after all that, right? So I said yes. And I clicked send. Once I said yes, he said he was very tired and very sleepy and he had to go to bed. That's what he said. So I said, hey, you go ahead, go to bed. And I was very shocked and disappointed. Yes, because I'm a human. But for about 10 minutes, I had to digest what had just happened. I'm a human. I had to digest what had just happened. But when I did, once I was done with my little, pity party, I said, you know what? Fuck it. I closed my laptop and I went to bed. But in those moments, I almost felt like, was I completely wrong? Did that not turn out at all as I expected? Whatever. I left it. I left it. Again, as opposed to many of you, I had learned not to be attached, at least not as much as many of you are, and that's what is keeping you where you are, right? So anyhow, I decided, I always tell you, it always comes from a decision. I decided that I was going to sleep and have a good night. Therefore, I slept and had a good night. Okay? The next morning, he comes back again in the chat saying, well, I have my son and my wife this weekend, so we won't be able to speak. I won't be able to speak to you, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, we're not anything. That's fine. But what I did notice is that for the first time, he called his wife. And that was big because until now, he had called her by her first name, which is not the same at all as saying my wife. My wife, it's very ownership type thing, right? It's your wife. It's not anyone else's. It's yours. It's not at all like calling someone by her first name. So I said, again, of course, I was a little bit hurt and disappointed. That's the human side. That's normal. If it happens to you, that's normal and that's okay. But as long as you don't dwell on it too long. So yes, I was disappointed. I said, fine, we're not anything anywhere. You don't owe me anything, basically. And I shut again my laptop. It was Saturday late morning, I would say. So I did not expect to hear back from him before maybe Monday evening. That's what I was kind of expecting. And it was Saturday late morning. Well, the thing is that day he was supposed to go to a concert at his job and he went there. And by late afternoon, it was maybe 5, 6 p.m. What do I see? I was again on my laptop, on Facebook, I guess, because I see some hearts and things flying on the messenger. And I was like, what is that? And guess who it was? It was my SP already, who had said to me a few hours before that he couldn't speak to me the whole weekend. And he said that he went to that concert. I knew he had to go there. And all he could think about was me and how much he would have wanted me to be with him. Later on, when we talked about that, he even said that he thought, oh, you have to stop playing dumb like this because you are going to lose her. So what he felt that day was, again, my lack of attachment, which is called detachment. when you detach emotionally from someone, that energy that you bring back onto you instead of spreading it out onto them, they feel it. They don't feel that consciously. Of course they don't. If you ask them, they would say, I didn't feel anything, whatever. But this is felt subconsciously. And when that energy retraction is felt by the SP, they feel a void. And as we say, the universe hates a vacuum, or you could say the law hates a vacuum. So when you take back that energy, your own energy, but take it back onto you to feed yourself instead of feeding someone else's with your energy, they feel that. They feel that vacuum. They feel that void. And what does that do? They come to you. They come or come back to you. And they feel that they are going to lose you. Because you see, I am not the type of woman who will ever, ever, ever run after a guy. It doesn't matter how much I want him. That's not me. I'd rather die than run after a guy. I feel this is the worst thing a woman can do, running after a man. That really, guides, that puts you in such a weak, needy state that is very ugly to me. Anyhow, it's ugly to me. And this is why I do not want to do that to myself. So after that, it was done. Even though 48 hours earlier, he had been acting a little bit like a jerk, saying something weird, and then just wanting to go to bed after he had put me under the bus, as we say, and then saying he had no time for me the next day because I reacted exactly as I teach my clients, exactly as I teach my whole audience, clients or no clients, because I did what I preach. I did not react. I reacted a few minutes because I'm human, but then I put myself together and went back on my track, right? On my non-neediness, living in the end type feeling, right? Whatever it was, I did not fall for that needy, desperate state, which not only I hate, but I know it's not helpful. It's not helpful to me. It wasn't helpful to me, and it's not helpful to you. So after that, he finally declared his flame for me, and it was just the beginning. But this is how I manifested my SP. I created the assumption on July 27th, and we were officially kind of together on September 30th. And this is all for now. Maybe I'll talk more about that, more details in some following videos, but this is my video in 2 videos. This is number 2, watch number 1, and then come back to this one if you want to see the whole story from beginning to end. Again, subscribe, like, and comment. Thank you for watching. Much love to you all, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye for now.